What's up, my friends? Thank you for stopping on by. You got Hercules here with my PGO-Rider week 4 and 5 battles. I'm putting two battles into one because I got a little behind. I played my man BB here last week, and then I just played another battle today. And I figured, hey, why not put them on the same video? And the reason being is because this is not the reason, but I am playing the Lycanrocs and the Lycanrocs. So two different teams in this league, the PGO-Rider division, called the Lycanrocs. You got the Minnesota Lycanrocs, coached by BB. Great guy, friend. We've battled in three different leagues now. We didn't play in the we didn't play in the IPL Open. So just the three leagues, but that's still kind of cool. Really great guy, always super fun to battle against. I've had a tough time against him lately, which is no shame. Great battler, really, really good team. And then the next team I'm going to be playing is the Lax Lycanrocs. Let's just go ahead and hop in to the team builder. So real quick, looking at his team, look at that fresh logo. I'm guessing that was done by Levi, aka Speedy Falchion, however you say it. I'm never sure which, but that man can make an awesome logo. Ignore the record right now because I can't remember what BB's record was coming into this. He did take over for a team to get into this league. Someone dropped, and they had a few losses, so one at most would be his. He's gotten a few wins since coming in. Looking at the team, though, Gallade Mega is just such a good mon. Gallade is great, really great speed tier, 110. That's kind of one thing that Gallade always struggled with is like it had okay speed but not great to pair with that amazing attack, and it's actually got a really nice raw special defense stat, but now that it's fast, it's a huge threat. Psychic and fighting hit so much, and it does get really good coverage. It does get things like knockoff, it gets swords dance, it gets shadow sneak even for some cool priority. So it can just do a lot of things, but really it's going to hit hard. Excadrill and T-Tar, so facing sand is always fun. T-Tar is hard to kill, and Excadrill is just always a threat to sweep, but they do a lot more than that. That's hazard control right there. That's a hazard, two hazard setters and one hazard remover. And then obviously Excadrill has a lot of really good abilities. Could just be Mold Breaker, could be abusing some sand. Silvally, always the most annoying thing to prep for because you don't know what type it's going to be. That's why I would just prefer to have it on my team. I've only used it once, but it's one of my favorite draft league mons. But it's a normal type, but whatever. If he wants any other item besides one of the memories, but depending on the memory, it could be another type. And you can kind of piece together what they might need based off of what they don't have or based off of what you do have that's going to be a threat. Silvally is a good offensive option since it does get good coverage, multi-attack, hits hard, but I think it does defense and support better. Getting things like Parting Shot, like Defog, Toxic, things just like that, just a lot of really good coverage too. But it can also U-turn, I believe, to pivot around as well. So it does a lot of good things really well. Primarina, one of the biggest things I'm worried about. Primarina just hits so hard, but it also is really bulky on the special side too, so it can be really hard to kill, especially like a Calm Mind rest set is always going to be scary, but even like just straight up Specs or Scarf is always going to be scary too. Roserade, another huge threat that does hit really hard, gives some spikes and toxic spikes. Speaking of toxic spikes, Kofagrigus gets those too, and Kofag is very hard to kill. In fact, that's going to be one thing I'm going to need to wear down a lot for my win con to be able to come in. Electros, always something that if you don't prep enough for it, it can be pretty scary since it does hit pretty hard on both sides, and it's like decently bulky enough, especially if it's got Assault Vest. Noivern, huge, I think that's massive value at 8 points, and Noivern's just great with Infiltrator, but even better with Frisk. It can pivot around, it can hit decently hard with Draco, Boom Burst, Flamethrower, Hurricane, stuff like that. It can also just be more support, Super Fang, Defog, Roost, stuff like that. Gets a lot of really good options. Vanillux, he really likes to get, I've seen him use it in several times before, but he really likes to get up, behind an Aurora Veil. Was that a word? Or Aurora Veil, and really do some work with his offensive mons behind that. But that being said, this is also really scary. It's hard to switch into Blizzard and Freeze Dry, and it gets Flash Cannon too. That's pretty much it though, since no hidden power. So a really good Steel type can switch into it, but that's really pretty much it. And then Raboot, one of those things that you don't see coming very often, but if you're completely unprepared for it, it could be scary. So let's just go ahead and hop into my team. I've been talking long enough already. We got Quagsire, the Quagatha with Rocky Helmet. As you can see, lots of defense with Liquidation, Toxic, Ice Punch, and Recover. Kind of just water and ice a lot of times can hit everything you need it to hit. Anything else that it can't hit, I'd be switching on it anyway, and then just Toxic and Recover to wear things down. But Rocky Helmet is good for his myriad of physically offensive threats like T-Tar, Excadrill, and especially Mega Gallade. And now if I do think that, for example, if I thought Mega Gallade was going to click Triple Axle on something, I can switch in and Rocky Helmet can take 3 hits nicely away from it. So just things like that are really good. I think it's going to be really nice and helpful. Lando Calrissian, you're probably not surprised to see a Life Orb on it here. Earth Power, Sludge Wave, Weather Ball, and Calm Mind. Now the Weather Ball, he does have 2 types of weather, so you could take advantage of Hail or Rock, which both do help hit Noivern, which is really cool. So, but yeah, I think there was something else I really wanted to hit with Weather Ball. I mean, that is nice. You know what? Earth Power and Sludge Wave just hits most things, and I think Weather Ball was nice for something like Noivern. Already forgetting what else. But anyway, Blaster Oogway with the Rindo Berry. Really my Primarina check. Scald, Ice Beam, Toxic, and Rapid Spin. Obviously, if it were faster and gets behind a sub, that's going to be rough because then we can't Toxic it. But that's really my only thing that is going to be able to switch very well into a Prim. And having Rindo Berry is going to be really nice to be able to do so, since Primarina does get really nice coverage having Energy Ball to go with its dual stabs that are really good, and Psychic. So it just hits a lot of different things. Gemini Cricket kind of just being overall bulky, but this is kind of to get behind a sub with leftovers, Toxic, wear things down with Toxic Flinch, get behind a sub if they want to switch, and then Fire Punch to hit things like Excadrill. I think there was something else I wanted to hit with that, but anyway, Venus, if you heard that running by, it's my cat, don't worry, it didn't die, they're just fighting with each other. But Venus, the Mega Lopunny with Lopunite, lots of attack. Obviously we're able to just put a ton into attack and like not have to go all the way on speed. Usually means we can have a little bit something in bulk, which is really nice. Close Combat, Ice Punch, and Play Rough hits his team really nicely. If I can get up in agility, I can outspeed even things like Scarfers. So that's kind of just the plan with that. With us being Jolly Nature, I'm guessing that's enough speed to outspeed Noivern. So this is our win con here. Everything else is kind of just to break. Not to say something like Jirachi late game, or really more than likely Lando Calrissian couldn't do a lot of work late game. But really, if I could just get everything worn down enough, have rocks up, I just need to get a little damage on Mega Gallade and a lot of damage on Kofag, if those come. Kofagrigus, however you say it. I need to get a lot of damage on that for close combat to do anything. Now, do remember we are scrappy, so we can hit with fighting type. But Kofagrigus, I'd never know how to say it. I need to look up. I have a little book that tells you how to pronounce their names. But it's hard to kill, so I'm going to need to wear it down. And we are not running Facade this week, so if I get Will-O-Wisped or poisoned, that's not exciting. Lastly, we got the Boulder. I believe this is the first time the Boulders come this season, so that's exciting. Mixed defensive set, but a lot of defense either way, with the Shuka Berry to take hits from something like Excadrill or Tyranitar. Either way, hit both of those really hard with Body Press. Rock Slide, Body Press, Iron Defense to double that defense stat, which is huge even with only 112 EVs, and then Stealth Rock, which is its most important job, is getting up some rocks. So why don't we go ahead and just hop on into this match. Let's get just a little volume in here, have the music on, go into dark mode, see if we're centered okay. This is fine for me, so yeah, let's just go ahead and do it. Let me make sure opening the right window, and we did it. All right, I'm proud of us. So hopping in, we lead off with Jirachi. They lead off with Down B. I know that's a thing. That's a Smash reference that Zach and BB like to do with their electric types. Down B, Pikachu's huge thunder move. So that's a fun one. I always like that nickname. we have to be really wary of knockoff here, and unfortunately, nothing on my team really wants to get knockoffed. Like, I need my berries on Blastoise and Regirock, big time. I guess I could have come into low pony, but I was just scared to take a lot of big damage on it early because I really needed it for late game. So I didn't have very much for this lead, and actually, I think he didn't mean to click this lead. But he's like, I misclicked. And I was like, well, do you want to restart? He's like, no, this actually works out. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, I had no knockoff switch in, which this does get. I try to click sub just to see, and we do see that's what's going to happen. We can get some leftovers health back, but ultimately I have to go Regirock and lose my Shuka Berry, which is really annoying. I actually thought I may have went Quag there, though he does get the Giga Drain, so I would need to watch out for that. I get Rocks up early, which is really nice. He does have a spinner and a defogger, but we expect the Will-O-Wisp coming, so we go into Blaster Oogway, and we get this thing poisoned. So really actually a pretty great start up until that crit and special defense drop. That actually really sucks. But actually a really good start. Blastoise is a little more expendable here since Primarina did not come. But getting up rocks early, getting up some chip already on this, and getting a Toxic is one step closer to an endgame where Venus just comes in and goes crazy. I just have to find something I can click agility on at that point, also something to think about. But it has surprisingly decent bulk, so there is a chance with that. The reason I do need to click agility, we obviously outspeed everything, but Ice Cream Cone and Excadrill are both really good Scarf options. So that's just something to think about. So we get the drop and the crit, which kind of actually is a bummer because we're specially defensive, so we're expecting to eat that up. I do go ahead and just stand and click Scald because I'm ready to just kind of try to get King Crimson worn down. We get to Toxic 2 things because I am fairly sure that with me having both Quag and Lando that he's not coming in to click an electric move yet. So we did stay in on that to get that Toxic as well. But now, do we just let... No, we do not let Blastoise go down. I'm actually almost kind of surprised by that. So we take the Rocky Helmet damage. I kind of wish I would have let Blastoise die there. So I could have brought this in for free. So we do get some Rocky Helmet damage. But unfortunately, it's going to get some health. Or it's not that it's getting some health back. It gets rid of my item. So now I don't have any great switches to this. Wait, yes I do. I got my Steel type. What am I thinking? But he is able to get up Veil, which is kind of a bummer. Now we got to wonder if Rapid Spin is coming. We go ahead and get behind a sub on the switch. We can click Fire Punch. That's not doing a whole lot, but also it is through Veil. We don't get the burn, but it's only a 20% chance with Serene Grace, so not something really to expect there. So now we got to go into Quag, which is kind of a bummer because this kind of needs to be my check to like multiple things. Since I wasn't able to bring Moltres. No Rocky Helmet damage here, that's kind of a big bummer. Veil is wearing down, and we do see it's not Light Clay because it didn't last 8 turns. So we can click Liquidation now, get some pretty good damage off on the cone. Who are we going into now? We got Blastoise for our sack. They click Freeze Dry, so at this point we still haven't seen enough to be able to tell if this is Scarfed or not. So that's something we do need to watch out for. So we just go Regirock because we're not going to take a whole lot of damage. Get up rocks again. I love it. And now I'm having to worry about this. Go into Quag. It's pretty good damage. And that's actually a bummer. This is something I didn't prep for. Is Drain Punch on Gallade. And man, that's a good bring by BB because what you're seeing here is he's able to start getting a lot of health back. I'd already had this worn down with the Rocks plus Rocky Helmet enough to where Play Rough would have killed with Low Punny. Just expecting close combat because that's really powerful. Great bring with the Drain Punch. That's going to be a problem for me because as you can see, he's getting a lot of health back. Now, he can't Swords Dance up in front of me, though this does get Leaf Blade. I did not think about that. Like, no, I'm not. I'm Rindo Berry on Blastoise. Wow, I think that his Gallade does. I think Gallade does get Leaf Blade. So, but to be able to hit everything, it probably can't run everything, and if it does, it at least can't boost itself. So, try to get a poison off. King Crimson comes in, already poisoned, doesn't help. We're gonna go ahead and take the burn here on Lando Calrissian, which I'm cool with. And now Earth Power is gonna just have to bop something, except he has an electric type, yeah. So there. I kind of did probably expect this to come in the more I think about it, I don't actually remember in the heat of the moment, but clicking Sludge Wave on Coffagrigus is actually like not the smartest play, because there's a chance he would have left it in if it's especially defensive. So, but that's okay. I go Gemini Cricket on the U-turn. So now he's into Excadrill, and we are actually going to be faster. So we can get off a Fire Punch. That's doing decent damage. I'll take it, though at the same time I did kind of just let go of my switch into Vanillix there, so that's something to consider, but I really didn't have the greatest Earth Power switch in. Surprised to see him staying in here, so now I'm going to have to take some pretty big damage since he gets that speed boost. He gets up rocks, good play. We're able to kill. Lando Calrissian going off as usual. And now here, this is tough, because if this is Scarfed, we're outsped. Even at +1, that's a ×4. Super effective. I'm sure Freeze Dry even would have killed at +1, but we definitely were worried about a Blizzard, which he can just really freely click Blizzard here. He said he got a high roll on the Blizzard, but that didn't matter, because the hail damage too, just, yeah, I'm pretty sure we were dying to 2 no matter what. So at this point, he did switch. And I'm starting to wonder, wow, you maybe aren't Scarfed then? Because obviously Blizzard is doing just a ton here. So I was actually kind of surprised to see the switch here. So we get off a close combat. We do crit there, which is a bummer, but it wouldn't have taken 2 hits, though I would have taken 2 hits of Rocky Helmet damage. I believe at 50% it was in my favor for it to kill, but that was a week ago. I really don't remember. Not even thinking about the fact that I get mummified by doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and switch into Quag. At this point, things are not looking great because of this is Silvally Bug, which is a really good bring. That's something that we really can't hit with our low punny set. So, yeah, just need to Toxic this thing, wear it down. I'm guessing Lando has to be my play to be able to do just any sort of damage. Sludge Wave does a good amount of damage, so this is low enough now. And at this point, Low Punny actually does win on 2... No, it doesn't. So actually, I forgot about the Drain Punch getting Gallade back to full. I was thinking there was 2 conditions that could win on here. One, Gallade being worn down, which it wasn't. So it wasn't even like a roll for it to kill. I'd forgotten about that. But the big thing is Pokeaim MD the Vanillix Scarfed, because this can't really risk clicking. We've seen Psychic Fangs, so we can't risk clicking Agility here. So we have to click Ice Punch. But since I don't have rocks up, and that wouldn't have done enough anyway, I can never kill this thing because Drain Punch was a great bring. So yeah, we lose 3-0 here. Not really mad to lose to a great battler like Spiral BB. Oh, actually, okay, obviously I was mad, but you can't be too down on yourself losing to such a good battler. So looking at my team, you've already seen that. This is something we have to do for the league to make sure no one's cheating with duplicate items. But you can see Pokeaim is choice Scarfed here. I really love the Scarf Aurora Veil. You can kind of bluff being Scarfed by doing that. But the Gallade set was definitely my favorite one. Him bringing Rock Slide was really smart, since Moltres could be a pretty decent switch into this. He was probably excited to see no Moltres, and I was really excited to see no Prim. But yeah, Assault Vest is always really good on Eel. So Volley Bug, man, with the nice spread set. But you can see the cool mixed set as well, doing a lot of damage. And man, I hated that bring because it was so good. Because it just checked my low punny so nicely. And then Excadrill being a little more support, but still hitting hard, obviously. And then King Crimson, something that's always hard to kill. But yeah, I was really surprised when he switched earlier with the Ice Cream Cone, making me think maybe it wasn't Scarfed and I still had a chance. But he was just playing in case I came in and killed with Quick Attack, which is very smart on his part. So that's the win for BB. Great battler as well. We got 3-0'd, but it did feel a lot closer than that. It felt like it could have gone either way if I could have just kept some damage down on that. But then again, this beat Low Punny anyway, because I couldn't Agility in front of it, because Blizzard definitely would have killed. So that was my first loss of the season. I was 3-0 up until this point, so that puts us at 3-1. I think that dropped us to second in the league standings, but I believe that Lando kept the kill leader, so that was cool, but obviously not more of a consolation prize having lost. So that's battle number 1. Stay tuned. We got our second battle with a Lycanroc coming up. Okay, I'm going to try to be just as quick with this battle, so this is not too long of a video, but this is battle 2. Battle number 2 against the Lax Lycanrocs, which I wish I could go to their team page real quick and show you their logo. I like showing off people's logos. Lax Lycanrocs, who I played this week, they, as you can see, they're going with the what is that? You got the day form, the midnight form. What's this? The dusk form. That's right. Okay. So anyway, we'll go back to the matchup here, and they got a scary team. So at this point, coming into the battle, we are 3-1 plus 9. That puts us at third. I guess just differential. I don't know why, but our battle hasn't been put in yet, so obviously that hasn't changed. And the Lax Lycanrocs having a rough start. 0-5 minus 16. That does not change at all how threatening their team is, though. Mega Scizor is a huge threat. In fact, I was really sure that Mega Scizor, possibly Scizor, Rillaboom, a lot of those mons, that there were a good chance that they were going to be picked. Me picking Moltres so early, this mon is one of the reasons that I took it so early. Really bulky, as you can see, more so bulky with its defense, special defense, not as much with his HP, but it also just hits extremely hard. Bullet punch priority is awesome. They got some cool priority too, having Accelerock on Lycanroc, the mascot pick. It was Lycanroc Dusk, was right there, and I couldn't remember what it was called. Tapu Fini, just super hard to kill. One last thing about Mega Scizor, since it gets Roost, Swords Dance, decent coverage, and a great ability and technician. It can be offensive or defensive, so something you always kind of got to check for, and its Mega Form is bulky enough that it can even go specially defensive. So yeah, Tapu Fini, always really hard to kill. This is another mon that you don't really know what it's going to be. It's better defensive, right? Especially like defensive with Calm Mind setup is just super scary and super hard to break. And because of Misty Terrain, you can't like Toxic or Thunder Wave it to nerf it. If its terrain is up, you got to find a way to stall that out. Kyurem, just look at all these threats, man. Kyurem, super hard to switch into if it's specs. It can be a Dragon Dance set that you have to watch out for that can be really scary. It can be just some sort of subset with leftovers with multiple attacks that have good, Ice Beam, Freeze Dry, and Earth Power hit pretty much everything, but it also gets Draco Meteor. It also gets Focus Blast. I think it even gets like Shadow Ball, which could be a problem for my Jirachi. We're going to go into that. Thunderous Therian, another big threat. So they got some hard hitters up top, but they got some mons that can take some hits too and get a little bit hard to kill. But Thunderous, very hard hitter on the special side. It does have the pivoting ability and pretty decent coverage. I do have to watch out for the fact that it gets Grass Knot, Psychic, Focus Blast, Sludge Wave on top of its electric moves. It does miss Hidden Power, and I don't think it gets any special flying move. Does it even get a physical flying move? I don't know. If so, I don't think it's anything very powerful. So Lycanroc, Tough Claws is pretty scary. Accelerock, Close Combat, Drill Run, stuff like that. Toxicity is always going to be a big setup threat. Just hitting so hard with its ability. Can set up with Throat Spray, throw off a Shift Gear to get up to +2 speed, etc., etc. So they have a lot of things that can set up. Porygon can set up with Nasty Plot Agility. Delphox can set up with Calm Mind. Galurk can set up with Rock Polish and just hit really hard. Kecleon, more usage of Intimidator, just kind of being a breaker. Did I say Kecleon? I meant to say Hitmontop. Kecleon, kind of one of those things you don't really know what it's going to be, but getting Protean is really cool, changing into the type that it's going to be. I will say Kecleon and Galurk, I felt like I didn't have the biggest amount of prep for. You just can't prep for everything, but you just have to feel like you have an answer for everything. So looking at my stats going into this week, 11 kills, 4 kills, 2. Nothing else is above 2, which is, what's that, probably Zarude based on its speed. Yeah, okay. So Mega Lopunny and Landers have done the bulk of the work offensively this season, but hey, everything's come so far, and everything's played a pretty big role in most of my matches. So we got Fox, the Moltres, surprise, surprise, it's running heavy duty boots, and it's defensive because it needs to be my check to Scizor. But Mystical Fire is going to be really cool here. Didn't feel like I needed to go with the extra power of Flamethrower or Fire Blast, so Mystical Fire is actually really cool because something like Tapu Fini, that is an easy switch into this, has to get its special attack drop to do so, and I think that's pretty helpful, especially if it's not Calm Mind. U-turn obviously to pivot into a better check or something more offensive. We can roost up on almost anything as long as we're safe, and then obviously defog in case they get hazards up early. Mega Lopunny with close combat, quick attack, mega kick, and power up punch. So return is on the cut moves list, so even though this is Nat Dex, we have no cut moves. So I considered Thunder Punch for Tapu Fini, but Mega Kick was actually doing a little more, and it just hit his team overall better. Something like Thundurus. Didn't care too much about my set, so now that I run Mega Kick, that is going to be scarier once they see that. Less things can switch in on it, but close combat, once this team gets worn down, is going to hit really hard. The quick attack priority is nice, and I've been wanting to run a power-up punch set. This is the week I get to do so. Man, I just got to take this time to say I am so glad that Lopunny gets close combat now and I don't have to rely on high jump kick. I'm just seeing how every week I'm bringing close combat, and I'm like, relying on high jump kick is a stressful game. So, Quagatha, the Quagsire, a defensive check. No one's surprised, but usually it's done so on the physical side. We're going specially defensive Quagatha with Unaware. This is mostly for Tapu Fini. If it wants to try to set up with Calm Minds, we can take hits relatively well from it. I think we are never two-shot by its stabs. So Whirlpool, Earthquake, Toxic, and Recover. I had a lot of different sets on this. At one point I had Sludge Bomb. Then I realized even with Unaware, ignoring its stat changes, Sludge Bomb just did almost nothing to Tapu Fini. So Earthquake actually did pretty much just as much. Whirlpool could trap something, and then Toxic and Recover. I can't Toxic through Misty Terrain, but something like Thundurus that's in the air, I can still Toxic. And also Toxic, I mean, Terrain is not always going to be up. Like, you do have to realize you can stall it out with Recovers, or if Tapu Fini switches in, switches out, and comes back in, it doesn't reset if the terrain's still up. So you can run it out and get a Toxic off on things. So I had to talk myself into that because I didn't initially have Toxic, but it was the best move that I needed for a lot of things. So Gemini Cricket, I did toy around with this being scarfed, but decided that I'd rather it be a little bulkier with Shukaberry. So I initially had it very bulky, but then I decided I wanted that amount of attack to be able to two-hit knock out any amount of HP on a Kyurem, and just to do more damage around Ironhead. Kind of hit everything pretty hard other than, I mean, no it didn't. It didn't hit Delphox or... wouldn't hit Delphox or Thundurus great. Fire Punch is hitting Scizor. But yeah, and then Wish and Stealth Rock being a big thing to bring. Lando Calrosand, going to be a mixed set. Mostly special attack, but Rock Slide still going to do a lot to something like Thundurus or Delphox. U-turn obviously to pivot around, and then surprise, surprise, Earth Power and Sludge Wave with Sheer Force are coming. And then the last Mon, Optimus Primate with Choppleberry. Seed Bomb, Rock Slide, Close Combat, and Bulk Up. Bulk Up was almost U-turn, and I had problems with this. U-turn was better since Scizor comes in so easily on this in a lot of ways, but since I had other checks, best switch in the game to Scizor or one of them with Moltres, but also like just other things on my team could wear down. And I had Fire Punch, Close Combat after a Power Up Punch is doing a lot to it. Earth Power is going to do a lot to it depending on if it's physical or special. So I figured I could kind of just switch. And instead, if Scizor got gone earlier, Bulk Up would just go in. If I could get a Bulk Up, I cannot talk today. That's okay. Let's hop into this second battle so you guys don't have to hear me stumble over my words anymore. So, as you can see, we're facing Celestial Doritos. I love that team. Doritos and the Lax Lycanrocs, and a lot of Mons on the team that I expected. I kind of was expecting Thundurus, and one of those things that I just breathe a sigh of fresh air of happiness, whatever you want to say. But Kyurem, is still a huge threat. Tapu Fini kind of on the top of my list, and then obviously Mega Scizor. Felt a little under prepped for Delphox. Now, a big reason I brought Rindo Berry on Quagsire is because Calm Mind Delphox with Grass Knot is a thing. So with the Rindo Berry, we'd be able to take that and hit an Earthquake back. So, but also, well, we won't get into that yet, but wasn't really expecting Kecleon, so this is actually kind of a cool bring, just because it can do a lot of things. It does get Stealth Rock Recover, Toxic. It does get, I think, Sucker Punch and Shadow Sneak. I know it gets Knockoff, which I was worried about. It gets Fake Out. But yeah, so every hit, it moves as a stab move, so that's cool. So I lead with Lando Calrissian, and they lead with the Lizard, and we get Fake Out early, which I was actually okay with this, because I didn't really want to switch into Jirachi yet, just in case, if its turn 1 move was Knockoff, I didn't want to send Jirachi in on that, because Jirachi was really important being my Kyurem switch in. Nothing else really prefers to take hits from Kyurem, like a Draco or an Ice Beam or a Freeze Dry. Really kind of just goes in on my team. Now it does get Earth Power and Shadow Ball, but I figured Earth Power was more likely, and so I was like, hey, Shookaberry. But so I didn't want to take any damage early if it was just a lead knockoff play. I expected probably Fake Outer Rocks, but you just live with what it goes with. 18% is not bad to take on a Scarfer, since we're planning on not taking damage and outspeeding anyway. So now we can, do I U-turn first or click Earth Power? I think I U-turn. Okay, turn 1, or turn 2, U-turn after the flinch. We'll take it. We can go Moltres. Obviously, they're not staying in this early, so we go ahead and U-turn again. So now we're in a pretty good spot, because now something has to come in and take an Earth Power, and most things on his team are going to get obliterated by it. The things that will take it well will at least get some damage on, some damage calcs, basically. I was a little worried because Delphox is a really good choice Scarfer, but one, I'm pretty sure... Well, you know what? Okay, if it was Modest, maybe Fire Blast could have killed, but if it was Modest, I would have outsped. So if it were Jolly and Scarfed, not Jolly, whatever, Timid. If it were Timid and Scarfed, Fire Blast actually couldn't kill unless it crit. And so, 1, we'd live, but 2, then we'd find out if it were faster. We know they're Scarfed since we're Scarfed. So are they Scarfed? No. And I could be wrong. If they were Modest, maybe they'd still be faster. Either way, we get to click Earth Power because they do just switch out. And we see 43%. That's pretty good on a Tapu Fini. And in fact, that's enough to tell us that it is not especially defensive. So either that was a decently low roll on a lot of HP, or sorry, a decently high roll on a lot of HP, or a decently low roll on an offensive Fini. So we'll just have to find out on that. Quagsire is our switch. You can see we're still taking 35, which actually tells us that it's Modest max special attack, because defensive it was doing only like in the 20s. So I actually forget that Tapu Fini gets Grass Knot. We had Rendo for it anyway, and it actually doesn't click Grass Knot here, but you're going to see obviously it's going to later. But we go ahead and just recover, because we just want to see what it's going to do. Is it going to Calm Mind, forgetting we're unaware? We go in on the double Wing Beat Moltres. No burn, that's 2 chances at it. And I had someone explain to me, because I'm not always very smart, I thought since I was in the air, the Flame Body would ignore the Misty Terrain, but since they're still grounded, they're protected from the Flame Body. But I am able to just roost off all that damage. Obviously, I don't want to stay in on a Surf here, so I get to go just right back into Quag. Now, this is really nice. So we go down to 65%, once again, seeing some pretty good damage. Nothing we can't recover off. But at this point, I see that there is no Misty Terrain up. So instead of recovering, I actually want to click Toxic here. I mean, they probably thought I'd just recover again. This is my opportunity to click Toxic. As long as nothing, everything is affected by that other than Scizor. So if they stay in, we get a huge threat Toxic, which is going to help a lot. They do stay in because we're max Spadef and the Rindo Berry. We get to live the hit, which is really cool. Now I'm knowing they won't click. I don't think they'd click Moonblast here. They actually might. They actually might should have. And honestly, I could have just stayed in with Quag. That may have been safer. I guess I just went for the big play here. We haven't seen Moonblast yet, but I'm going to assume that they have it. But I guess Moonblast from that range would have killed. There was no reason for them to Grass Knot again. I guess I could have went Jirachi, so maybe they didn't want to Jirachi and Moltres, but you don't want to go Moltres on this. But maybe they thought if I go Jirachi, that kind of gets it in for free, which is fair. So I go Zarude. I guess I just didn't think they'd click Moonblast. Seed Bomb, since it's offensive, I think would have killed at that point. I just click Close Combat because I know they're switching. So this forces them to Roost, so we get to see a second move on them. We click Mystical Fire. Since I clicked U-Turn last time, I figured they might think that I would overpredict and U-Turn again, so I overpredicted and clicked Mystical Fire. But still, that's some okay chip onto Lycanroc, though we don't really switch into this too well at this point. They get up a big Swords Dance, and I'm thinking I can either see if they've got Close Combat, if that's what they want to choose. They'd go, because I didn't think Accelerock would kill, though at +2 maybe it would have. I was ready to let Quagsire go down. It had done its job. But if it had missed that Stone Edge, that was a little bit risky because, well, I could have, I probably would have killed with Earthquake if they missed. So here I can come in and click Power Up Punch. Has a very good roll to kill. I wasn't too worried about the damage from something like Accelerock. But since Scizor is still at full, this is not going to be enough for us to click Close Combat yet. Now, if we can get 2 of those, though, if we got, what, 16% damage? If we get another 16%, it is essentially into Close Combat range. So that's something, and I just scrolled up. Is that okay? Yeah. So that's something for us to be watching out for, is can we keep this from clicking Roost? But right now we need to switch out because Low Plenty is too important. And they do just click Dual Wing Beat. We have 2 chances to burn. Nothing. Okay. So they at least can't Roost up. Or they can't, yeah. As we do Roost up, they switch out. We go ahead and stay in. I'm expecting the Fake Out, and I'm very cool if they want to click Fake Out here because 1, yeah, you see we're not losing a ton. But 2, that's another chance for us to burn them. No luck. We do get to U-turn out on this, though. We go into Jirachi, which I was a little bit scared to do. I just didn't know what it was going to click. So this may not have been the best play, but I had to go into something. And we do see that they click Power Up Punch, so they got a Power Up Punch user of their own. So this does hurt us a little bit if we take damage here, since this is our Kyurem switch in. But I think I can probably get a flinch here, so I go ahead and go for it. We get the crit and the flinch. Hey, we'll take it. I think it was probably 2-hit KO'd anyway. No, it definitely was. That's why I clicked that. So obviously we can kind of just click in here. They double out into Delphox, into Tapu Fini, who does have leftovers, but it's going to be taking toxic damage. So the longer it wants to stay in, that's fine. I'm feeling a bit risky again, thinking they probably won't Moonblast there, and they don't. So we can click Close Combat again. Here, we could have predicted and doubled, but Fini was just hitting pretty hard, so I figured we're doing good. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Doubles are nice, but I didn't feel like we needed to start doing that quite yet. Here we predicted they're not staying in to U-turn. So now we get to go in here to Venus. We get to click Power Up Punch. But once again, that's still, since it roosted, it's still at full. So we still have to keep switching to Moltres. We're very soon, though, if we can keep getting this worn down, very soon we'll be able to click Close Combat. Once again, man, they are being very bold clicking Double Wing Beat with a Flame Body Moltres coming in. And we got nothing. Still no burn there. That's okay. We U-turn on the switch. We go into Mega Lopunny, and here's our time. Power Up Punch. At this point, 68%. They are now into Close Combat range with a roll very much in our favor. I probably like at least like a 75% chance to kill. I can't remember exactly, but it was very much in our favor to the point where I decided I can go into Moltres all day, but I'm scared. I don't want it to be able to just keep roosting. I decided let's go big. This is our time. We have a good roll here. And they go Kyurem, which I absolutely love this. Getting this out of the way is huge. Now, I get why they did that, because I had been switching every time on Scizor, so they probably thought, hey, here's my time to finally get Kyurem in for free and do some big damage. By the way, you need to have shiny Kyurem, not normal. This is a great shiny. But anyway, Kyurem comes in, the original dragon, I guess, of the Tau Trio, I think is what it's called, but it just drops, and I love that. Now I don't have to worry about switching into it. Now Jirachi is also less important. As we see, we had that rule in our favor, so we're able to kill. Scizor, they may have expected to live, not having clicked Bullet Punch, but we were calced out to for sure live a Bullet Punch. And at this point, I can do one of a few things. I could switch out because I am going to be taking Fake Out damage, but really, since we resist Accelerock, I'm not too worried about that. And we outspeed everything unless Hiya, the Delphox, is... Oh, that's a Star Fox reference. Or Super Smash Bros. But unless that's Scarfed, we are going to outspeed everything. So I don't mind taking a little bit of chip here. That's no big deal. We're going to flinch. I actually clicked Quick Attack, but I knew they'd outspeed with that. But now I can Power Up Punch because I knew that would kill. And now we're at +2. And so here's something kind of cool. Mega Kick is always killing no matter what, because we know this is probably offensive, but even if it's max HP, max special defense, we know it's not running any defense EVs based on calcs. Mega Kick's always killing, but that's a 75% move. Close Combat is on like a really high roll. Like I think a low roll here would do 48%, but it could do all the way up to in the 50s. So we see Toxic's going to take it down to 50. So we have a really great chance to kill here with Close Combat. So do I go big again and say I'm probably going to get the roll, or do I go with the other chance and say I'll for sure kill, but I could miss the Mega Kick because Quick Attack wasn't going to do enough? We decide, hey, let's click Close Combat again, and we get the kill. So we got the roll. That was very in our favor. So 2 for 2 on those rolls. You love it. At this point, I could have stayed in and possibly finished off, but I did figure with me continuing to lower my defense, the Fake Outs and Accelerocs were eventually going to wear that down, and I actually did just want to keep it around and keep it healthy. So I knew I could go in on this Fake Out here and not take much damage. Now I can pretty freely click a button. I decided to click Iron Head. We're chipping this down. So we take the Flamethrower. They obviously didn't want to risk taking any potential more damage, and they'd only seen Iron Head from me, so I could have had something that I guess could have done damage. We're gonna still not be 100% sure if they're Scarfed or not until this point when we roost. From that point, I think I could have probably potentially taken a Psychic, maybe, but even if the Psychic killed, we weren't too weird at this point because this was our Scizor check, and Scizor is gone. So we roosted there. Second turn, we are U-turning, so they get up to +2, getting a little bit scary. And here I can just go Zarude. I didn't want to, yeah, because they resisted Close Combat, didn't want to worry about a Mega Kick miss. I don't think Quick Attack probably would have done enough at the point. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I click Rock Slide. We're going to kill the Lizard. Now he comes back into Delphox. We are faster because it's not Scarfed. And then here's where the Chople Berry comes in handy. I actually kind of forgot I was running Chople Berry, and I was thinking about if I wanted to switch. And I was like, well, they might, you know, overpredict and click something else. So I was thinking about what switch I wanted to make. Then I decided, hey, you know what? I can either sack this or I can kill with Seed Bomb if they miss or if they overpredict. And then I remembered, I'm Chople Berry. I live this hit. So we ran 3 berries, and 2 of them got to come in handy. And yeah, that is the game. We get a nice 5-1 victory, and that's actually really huge because the team that we passed up second place, obviously, but the team that's in first place, we're now tied with because of that. So we're going to be 4-1 plus 15, which is what the team in first place is. So we see the choice specs, Kyurem. They're going big with this Focus Blast, Draco Meteor, Flash Cannon, Ice Beam. So we actually took hits really nicely with Jirachi on the stabs and on Flash Cannon, though the Focus Blast would have hurt, I think, if it would have landed. So I was expecting Earth Power or Shadow Ball, and we still got strong. So the Muscle Band Lycanroc, which is interesting. I think that's just like the physical version of Wise Glasses. So that just gives a slight boost to every physical move. Expert Belt would be cool too, but I see what they're going for. Just to have that for sure boost if it's not super effective. But, you know, Rock and fighting, as we know, with Terrakion hits things really well. So Close Combat with Rock Stabs and Swords Dance is really nice. The Scizorite we see, another Swords Dance set. Bullet Punch, Dual Wing Beat, and Roost. So pretty offensive build because we're also seeing set up here. We do see Assault Vest, and then Tapu Fini obviously was pretty offensive We see it's dual stabs and grass knot. So, and you've already seen our team. Once again, that's something we have to do for the item clause. But hey, we pick up the 5-1 win. No kills for Lando Calrissian this week. We got 3 from Mega Lopunny, and Mega Lopunny could have probably snagged a few more. That's putting Lopunny up to 7 kills, and that's gonna put our friend Zarude up to what, 5 kills? Because that was 3 more kills. Yeah, so Zarude hadn't come much, but it's done well. Real quick, clicking PGO-Rider. We see our matchup's still up. I wanted to look at statistics real quick. So we're still leading the league in kills, and Lopunny will be up there too once we get that in there. So that's exciting. So yeah. Oh, that's what I really wanted to look at. The ranking. Here we go. So yeah, we're gonna go up to 4-1. Plus 14. I said plus 15. That's going to put us tied, and we haven't played each other yet. So, we're tied. Since they were already ahead, I'm guessing they'll stay at 1. Doesn't really matter right now, but I don't know if I've said. The quick playoff breakdown that you can look at is whoever at the end of the season is in green gets a bye week. Whoever is in yellow makes playoffs. Whoever's in red does miss playoffs. So these 4 we'll fight it out to make the quarterfinals. So we want to make sure we make it into that top 2, because I would love to have a bye week so that we only have to win 1 to make it to the championship. So yeah, this is going to be interesting to see who all makes it, what the seeding is going to be. But that's where things are standing right now, guys. So I want to thank you so much for watching the video. And I just realized you may not have even been able to see that because I didn't move it over. You can kind of see our record. You can't see the differential. That's okay. I'm going to leave it. I'm tired. Guys, I'm going to hop on out of here. Thank you for stopping by. Have yourself a wonderful night. And I hope you're looking forward to our next batch, whatever I'm trying to say. Man, this has been a struggle. But we're playing the Indian Infernapes next, I believe, which they have a super scary team. So fingers crossed on that. I'm going to hop on out of here. Have a great night, guys. Peace.